by the book, and we're your married relationship coaches. I'm Sent.
I'm Sil.
And if you have already joined us, you already know what it is. Welcome back, guys. If you're new here, we do all things reality show recaps, reviews, and relationships.
Yeah.
So if you like that type of thing, please consider hitting subscribe. But today we are on to Married at First Sight, season 15, episode 13, The After Party, where Keisha is joined with special guest Sarah Fraser.
Yeah, that's it.
There's always some kind of Sarah. And
It's a good Bible name, Sarah.
Okay. Also, we're joined with Krysten and Miguel. Mm-hmm. So, of course, they answer the question, what are they excited? They're excited to see a third party, give their perspective, blah, blah. Every single time there's a guest on, that's the answer. They might as well stop asking that question. We open up with seeing the scene, a clip that they showed from Miguel and Lindy.
Yes. Where
Miguel is telling Lindy, I probably can't give you a yes, this is forever. Which I think is tough. I mean, we can talk some more about that if you want, but that's something that nobody who's married wants to hear from their spouse.
Very true.
You know.
Very true. I've said it already, and we've talked about it.
Yeah.
You know, the need of a woman wants security.
Something.
She wants security.
Something.
She wants to feel safe. And so when a woman does not feel that, she's going to begin to act out in other ways.
Yeah. Well,
and
she don't need much of an excuse.
And so you got to have more acting out, because no woman wants to be married to a selfish man.
Yeah.
They just don't. A woman wants to be married to a selfless man.
Yeah.
And so she's not seeing that from that aspect. And so you're going to see her kind of like start to be more Lindy.
Well, he better watch his mouth, because she good with her ex, okay? And if he ain't going to be armed with anything but a spoon, he's not going to be able to defend himself.
It's not a spoon.
That's a spoon.
It's a spade.
Spade, spoon, whatever. It was not going into that wood, okay? Now, Keisha asked Miguel, basically, why are you causing yourself problems that you don't even have by saying this?
Yeah.
And he says, which I could honor, I could get it. He says, I've been in a habit of staying in things for too long. So now he's a little bit non-committal, because he feels like he's been in different relationships where he just hung on too long. I mean, can you give some credit to that?
I can understand that, but you just made a commitment, a lifelong commitment to a stranger. And so I would say if you didn't get over that hurdle, then that's probably something that you shouldn't have done.
You shouldn't have gotten married.
No. I mean, what? For better or for worse, until death do you part? That's pretty doggone lifetime. Yeah. And so once you say that commitment, continue to reinforce that with her. I'm not going anywhere. We can work this thing out.
Yeah.
No matter what. We can make this thing work.
So they asked the special guest, her opinion on this situation. She chimes in, y'all. I mean, I don't know what this was. She's telling Miguel, when do you think you'll be to a point where you can just fully allow yourself to let go and fall in love with Lindy? Girl, where have you been? Do the guests have any criteria that they need to meet? Watching the show? She doesn't even know what's happening. Keisha tries to save her, right? She jumps in and she's like, oh, I think they already are in love.
Yeah.
What? Watch the show.
I know. They had someone on the show who doesn't watch the show.
Right.
And it was so apparent. Why didn't they edit that out, though?
I don't
seemed
know.
like they would have kind of
They probably already did enough takes. I don't know. But, I mean, she seemed very unknowledgeuld about what was going on at that point.
Pull it up online and watch it before. You know what? If they would have invited me to the show.
You would have already had your facts straight, baby. I know. So Keisha asked Krysten, if she ever asked Mitch about the future. Mm-hmm. And she said, I did once, and it was too much pressure for him. And I'm like, goodness. I mean, he got almost as many triggers as Lindy. Mm-hmm. Right?
Mm-hmm. See where it's just circular.
So the next clip they move into, I think, we see they show a little bit more. We're still on Miguel. They show the clip when Lindy kind of flies off the handle about the insurance situation, and he's just kind of talking about how he's dealt with that. I mean, I thought that situation was behind everybody, but I think it's almost a foreshadowing, right? Mm-hmm. Because she's going to start to go off the cuckoo's nest again. So
yeah. That was a big sticky point for them. And obviously it's going to get revisited, you know, in some kind of way. We haven't seen it yet. And so, I do think it was a little bit of foreshadowing. But as he said, he gets in his own head and he's not, well, we just said he's non-committal. So that's going to have some issues as well. As much as we see with Lindy and he's more calm and cool, some of that is him too, kind of like playing into, I think, how she responds and reacts just a little bit. Now, I can't put it all on him because obviously it's her to manage her own emotions. But I think some of it is kind of Miguel in there, you know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he has his flaws. Sometimes people's, you know, the other person's flaws stand out a little bit more. So we talk about him a little bit more.
True.
They did show a clip of him with Lindy's friend and talked about, like, the outbursts that she has and, you know, things like that. And they asked him, Keisha asks him, you know, does he address it? And he's like, yeah, like, every time she has these outbursts, I'm asking her, like, what I thought this should have been a 3, you know, why are you at a 10, you know, type of thing. So he is trying to get to that thing that really bothers him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Based upon you guys let me know what you think, but based upon the previews that we're seeing, this thing seems like it could go real left right now.
Yes. Yes. I'm waiting for you to get to the end when he basically says what he said. I'm ready for that part.
Stop jumping in. Yeah. So now, then they ask me, I mean, you got to realize how big of a thing this is with Lindy, because they move on to asking Krysten, like, have you seen this part of Lindy? And she's like, well, don't mess with Lindy and her food. Then she goes back to, like, something at their bachelorette party with some tacos. Now, she didn't, like, go into detail or make it even sound bad. She's like, well, somebody did take her tacos. Mm-hmm. And then Miguel chimes in, and he's like, well, you guys don't see that when I'm off frame, I'm, like, passing her snacks. I'm like, what is she, a puppy? Like, what is going on here? This lady should not have to be fed to stop her from snapping on people.
Yeah, I don't know. What is that? I mean, I've seen moms, parents have to take snacks for the kids, you know, to keep them kind of pleasant, you know, in the middle of church or a movie or something like that, but not a grown
No, you got to regulate your own emotions, child.
Yeah.
I'm not with that. So they move on to the clip. They start talking to Krysten. We move on to a clip with her talking with her sister-in-law. And I couldn't care less what she talked to the sister-in-law about, because the very next thing that she started talking about was how the diaper conversation led her to ask Mitch about menstrual products. Like, is it okay if I use sanitary napkins? Girl, what? You don't ask. No. And furthermore, he's like, well, do what you want to do with it, but encouraging her to use menstrual cups. Like, boy, I will take this menstrual cup and stuff it up your nose. You better leave me alone about my cycle. What is this?
I have nothing.
The audacity. That's what it is.
I have nothing for that. I have no rebuttal, no feedback, no nothing except for ew. I mean,
right. He shouldn't even have an opinion. He should not have an opinion. I understand, like you said, the garbage, the waste situation that he's concerned about. But that's one of those things, like, you just don't even, as a man, respectfully.
Yes.
Just don't even address it.
Exactly.
Leave that to women, okay?
I think you all have been doing it for quite a while, and I think you know better than any man. Yeah. So why even chime in on that?
At all.
It's just another place where his environmentalist thing, it doesn't fit me.
Yeah, it's allowing him to just overstep and feel. I mean, I'm glad that she said she brought it up to him, because if he brought it up to her, like, literally, this would have been a physical fight.
Yeah.
But still, when she brought it up to him, his response should have been, do whatever you want, period. Shouldn't have been no but.
No.
Use a menstrual cup. No.
No.
That's okay.
No, you just overstepping your bounds big time, bro.
Keisha asked her, does she think it's fair, you know, that she's kind of in a position where he's asking her to change so much. And finally, like we've been asking for since maybe week 2 or 3, she's got her voice. She's like, no, it's not fair. And plus I feel like if I don't change these things, like he's not going to be happy. It's like the handwriting is on the wall here. This isn't a match.
No.
She didn't say that, but I'm saying it. And I think that's what she was making clear to us, you know, without even having to say it. Like, no, I'm not going to change everything about me just to make this man happy. No, he should have been matched with somebody else.
Well, he definitely should, and she shouldn't have to change. I know you have to accommodate and you have to compromise in the marriage.
Yeah,
but absolutely not. You're asking for way too much. You're asking for a person to do a major overhaul for them on themselves just to be with you, Mitch, and.
At least he knows.
You know prize like that.
At least he knows, like, she doesn't have to do that. He's like, I understand a lot of people won't want to deal with it. Yep. You understand that you need to just buy some cats and live like that.
That's why you've been single. And that's probably why you need to stay single.
So as if that wasn't enough, then we move on to the scene where Mitch is telling her sister his preferences for her not to wear makeup. And sister is upset. You know she is. You can just tell. She's like, this is a sensitive subject. Now, I feel strongly about this. She's trying to school him, but her mind is made up. Once that came out of his mouth, she already knew how she was going to come to Krysten with this.
Yeah.
So when Krysten gets to speak on it, Krysten is like, yeah, she said that the conversation was all about Mitch. He came off very narcissistic.
Yeah.
And, that's a red flag. Anybody's sister is going to try to shut that down.
Very true. Very true. I mean, I've been picking up a lot of stuff off of Mitch.
Yeah.
Narcissistic. I didn't know if I had saw that. But when she said it, I was like, that's pretty much spot on. I mean, it is. It fits him.
Yeah, it kind of does. It's just, I give him a little less than calling him actually a narcissist.
Really?
Yes, because I feel like not only would he have these ideals where he feels like, he's perfect, but he wouldn't ever be able to take that step back and be reflective about it and see how he is. And we've seen him at least try to be a little bit remorseful about how his behavior
after the fact, though, but during everything he's not.
Yeah, and he thinks he's playing it cool, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so everybody's, like on board with that. Sarah's like, he could have just said, and we said this actually in our video on them, like he could have just waited till she took the makeup off, been in bed, and start giving her compliments. That goes a long way.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, exactly. Mm-hmm. That's all that it would have taken.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, he didn't. So, Mitch gotta be Mitch. Mitchisms.
Keisha asked Miguel, how would Lindy have responded if you did that? He's like, just go ahead and replay that insurance conversation. Yeah, Lindsay would have blew her top about something like that.
Yeah.
But Miguel would have gave her some pushback, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would. I mean, because, at least they do have more of a back and forth when they kind of like talk. No.
Yeah. So, I mean, they move on to talking about Ben and Morgan because this was the episode when Ben and Morgan got divorced. Krysten obviously has, positive feelings about both of them, so she's feeling bad about it.
She knows them personally.
But so. Yeah. And she's saying, they both maybe weren't ready, but you don't know that you're not ready until you're in it, especially for a situation like this, where you're just all of a sudden married and supposed to be committed. So I think she was right about that. The other big point I think that she made is that Morgan needs an alpha. Right? And I think that's true. Now, Keisha joked a little bit about that being like a volatile situation.
That's the way I kind of see it.
I don't see it like that. And you guys let us know what you think. But I feel like when you have an alpha personality as a woman, an alpha man will kind of subdue it. It doesn't mean like we're going to go toe to toe and be in combat. I think just you can be in your full womanliness when there's a man who takes over as the alpha. If you don't have an alpha man, then shoot, you still the alpha. And that's what we saw with them.
Well, I guess there's different degrees because I've seen two alphas and that was a power struggle. Yeah.
Maybe they didn't recognize. Does that mean the woman didn't recognize the male as being an alpha then?
I don't know what she was recognizing. But I saw and heard a whole bunch of fussing and cussing. That's what I saw. Yeah. And they didn't last no more than like 2 years before they had ended their relationship.
Well, I mean, maybe. It's not going to work in every scenario, but I just feel like strong personalities from women are balanced out when they're met with other strong personalities.
Okay.
One other thing that Krysten said, and I'm not really sure how I feel about this, but she said that when they met each other, they basically realized they weren't a match. And so they've been like finding these little things, these little excuses to divorce, I guess. But I didn't get that from Ben. I maybe from Morgan. Yeah. I think after she felt so challenged about her her nursing degree and things like that, she might have been looking for a way out. But Ben looked like he was more and more committed. The more angry she became at him, the more committed he was to trying to make that thing work. Yeah,
if that happened, they didn't show that to us because I didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see him trying to get out of it.
No, I didn't. I saw him trying to deal with what was on his plate and failing at it. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
I saw that he needed someone to talk to. Instead of talking to Morgan more, he talked to the most softest person that he could probably talk to. And that
he did.
Justin,
that's definitely Justin.
And so he wanted a safe space. Morgan wasn't a safe space. She was coming at him, with claws and teeth all the time. So
yeah,
what are you going to do? So I didn't see him really trying to run out of the marriage. I just think he was overwhelmed at how he was going to deal with what was going on in the marriage.
Yeah. So Keisha turns to Sarah and asks her if she thought that Morgan was unforgiving in this situation. Sarah's like, yeah, it's almost like she was taking something else out on Ben. And I'm like, you think? Like, seriously, guys, it does not take a psychiatrist to see that this woman has big time daddy issues. Yeah. I mean, how long does it take you? We could read that immediately.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. But again, still, I think Sarah didn't really watch the season. So, it could be some of that.
No, I don't think she did. Shame on you, Sarah.
So, Keisha asked both Krysten and Miguel what they've learned about themselves. Krysten says that avoiding conflict sometimes creates conflict. It creates more conflict, which I think is definitely true. And it's definitely true for her because in her just trying to meet all of Mitch's needs, she's bottling up all of this pent up hostility. And we just saw it blow up at that, I don't know, it wasn't a dinner, but the group setting that they were in, she blows up on him. And that's why, because she just was fed up.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, she's 100% dead on with that. If you hold it in, if you avoid the conflict, but nothing is ever resolved.
Yes.
No, that's a recipe for disaster right
exactly.
there.
Well, no one wants to be in a marriage to where you feel like you're giving, and the other person is just sitting back, receiving. And so it can work, but for only so long. And you have to keep in mind that these are strangers. They just met. They don't have a history to where they can pull from and say, okay, well, there's a season for everything. They just met. So here it is. She's doing all the accommodating. She's doing all the giving. She's doing all the compromising while Mitch is just sitting back looking selfish. And again, no woman wants to be married to a selfish man. And so how is she going to respond down the road? Just like she just did.
Yeah.
She's going like, I've had it. Enough.
So Miguel said that he needs to trust the process more, get out of his own head, go with the flow, and try to trust Lindy and see where she's coming from. I don't think there was really anything wrong with that. I wasn't done with him until he got to the end segment. So we'll move on to that. The next scene we see is a clip from that group setting. And we actually see when Krysten blows up on Mitch. And Sarah says, Mitch looks bamboozled. I love that word, right? Yeah. And he did. And I think he actually was. And this goes back to what I said in our video about them. Mitch is stupid. Like, it doesn't have anything to do. This is why I think I'm hesitant to call him anything like, calculating or narcissistic or manipulative. Okay. Because I think he's just not that bright. He does want what he wants. I think he's intelligent in terms of what his causes are.
Yes.
But I don't think, like, socially, there's a delay there. He got some issues. So he thought he was going to tell her sister these things and it was never going to come back to her.
Yeah.
That indicates to me there's something that's not, registering between here and here. It's like something is missing.
Well, you know what? I think for Mitch, this ideology of environmentalists, it runs so deep. Mm-hmm. And also, again, throughout this whole marriage, pretty much, he's been able to have his own way. So selfishness has taken over him. He's not looking at how he can be more of a benefit and a better husband to Krysten at all. He's looking at what I can get. Oh, wait a minute. That's one or two things I haven't been able to get. Her to stop wearing makeup. And so let me go down this avenue with her sister and get even more than what I haven't been able to get.
Yeah.
And so it all backfired on him. It all came up on him. And the only thing he could do was sit there with that little fishing hat on.
And this simpleton look on his face. Like, how could this have gone so wrong?
Yes.
You stupid fool.
What's wrong with you, man?
So Krysten is proud of herself, right? Like, she's expressing she's proud. Keisha's proud. Miguel is proud. Like, it's just a pride fest all over the place. Mm-hmm. And Keisha asks, is there anything Mitch can do to, like, I guess, recover this situation, this marriage? I honestly think her real answer is no. But, I mean, why not just pretend for the cameras one more time, right? So she says, yes, he could say all the things I've been wanting him to say this whole time. What good is that going to do? Nobody just wants to hear. You want to see actions at this point.
Yeah.
They've been in this thing for 6 weeks. Like, what are you going to do? Because what you say is kind of empty at this point. She says he could start thinking of me first instead of himself. And he could pledge his love to me. Mm-hmm. All of this is empty to me, baby. Like, I didn't take her at her word for that. You
didn't?
At all. No, there's nothing he can do. She's going to escape that situation. Burn that bridge and run from it, child.
Well, he would actually have to be very perfect for the remainder of the time.
They got 2 weeks. They got maybe even less than that. They got like 12 days.
I know. But if he was able to come at it with a different mindset, you know what? I've been totally a butthole, and it has been about me. I have been selfish, and this day, right now, I'm changing it. And you're going to see it in my actions. I think she would listen. I think she would be open to that.
I wouldn't stake the rest of my life on no 12 days. I wouldn't do that.
You would?
Run, child. So Keisha asks, what keeps you guys in the marriage? Mm-hmm. And Krysten says, we're married. What she means is, we're under contract. We're married at first sight. Well, and if I leave now, I don't get my full paycheck.
Oh, wow. You know what? I didn't hear that. I heard that she is committed to the commitment. That's what I heard.
Okay.
And she values marriage. She values what it stands for. And so she wants to give her all, especially for this 8-week process. And that's what's been keeping her in it. It's the commitment to the commitment. That's what I kind of got from it.
If they cut them checks early, that girl is gone.
No.
So for Miguel's end, he answers the same question, what keeps him in the marriage? Mm-hmm. And he has all this praise for Lindy. He's like,
this is what I've been waiting for.
Optimism. Wait, I wrote this down, so hold on, let me just read it, okay?
Yes.
He said her optimism, her patience with me. She's really the rock in the relationship. I'm noticing I'm leaning on her a lot. Miguel, need to step my game up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, let me just...
You know what?
What am I watching?
I know. I felt like...
I was bamboozled. Like, what? What happened?
I felt like the woman Sarah on a show. What was her name?
Like,
Sarah
he wasn't
Fraser?
watching his own show?
Yes, I was like... What have we been watching? I have not seen any of that.
None. She's the anchor. Like, really?
Yeah.
This woman is not stable. Okay? She might need medicine. Maybe that's what he be sliding her. Like, hey, you ain't take your medicine today. She is not very stable. And the thing is that she doesn't really want to work on that.
Yeah.
She just wants him to accept her where she is. And that's an issue. Yeah. And whatever it is, and I know a lot of times we haven't seen the two of them. They've shown a lot more of the other couples than Miguel and Lindy on certain episodes. Yeah. And maybe we're missing her being the anchor there. But all I see is work from Miguel. He gives to her demands.
Yes.
He took care of baby McGindy the whole time.
Gave in on the insurance.
Yes, he's trying to reel her in.
Yeah.
And correct her when she's going kind of left in terms of her anger and stuff. Obviously, he's sliding her snacks like she's 2. So I would love to know more if this is actually true that Lindy is doing. Besides being optimistic, she is committed.
Yeah.
I think, that's obvious.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't see what Lindy is doing. And I think when we look at the previews, it sounds even more disingenuous what he said. I'm like, did you see the previews of what y'all did? So, I don't know. That one was wild for me. I think maybe he was just saying anything for the camera.
No, I don't know.
You think he feels like that?
You know what I think? My honest gut.
He crazy.
He was drinking.
They did
have some drinks. So I don't know. Maybe that had a little bit of something extra in his or something. But I really do think that they probably stayed together. And so he got on the after party.
Oh, and he has to say nice things. He had to give
praises to the wife that he continued to stay with. That's what I really, really feel.
Yeah, so she don't turn into Mr. Hyde on his behind when he get home.
Exactly.
Okay,
that's
maybe.
what I kind of feel.
Interesting. But anyway, guys, let us know what you think. This was something.
Yeah.
That menstrual cup situation and that Lindy is the best. Lindy is the best. That was wild for me. But like I said, hop in that comment section and let us know what you think of this episode of the After Party. Like, share, please subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.